Mediocre Hobbies Podcast, the first old world tournament in Ireland. Follow us online. Andy is at youtube.com/mediocre hobbies. Tom is at tomlandy.com.
Hello guys, welcome back to another episode of the Mediocre Hobbies Podcast. In today's episode, me and Thomas shall be discussing the first Old World tournament that I participated in here in Ireland, and how that went, my thoughts and feelings and feedback, and then we basically just have a little bit of a nabble about the Old World and
I don't know whether I can remove that, or I can emphasize it and zoom in on you when you say it. It's one or the other. That's what I usually do.
Nobble. Or you put in this bit here where he's like, what the hell is a nobble? I don't know what a nobble is.
You're just talking to yourself.
I'm trying to decide something, right?
Go on.
I have another one of those Pegasus, like I said.
Mm-hmm.
But do I put a damsel on it? Is a damsel more useful? Like a level 4 prophetess on a Royal Pegasus flying around casting spells? Or do you really want a BSB on a Pegasus? Wouldn't a BSB be better in a unit of Grail Knights or in a unit of Knights of the Realm or something?
I'm thinking that a Baron on a Royal Pegasus is a waste. I feel like...
I think so.
Like, I think it's a great model, and I'm not saying that, but what I am saying is it's a bit boring. Like, what's he going to do charging on his own? Because he's a monster.
Yeah. Like, he'll give his aura, and his aura will be easier to, like, move around and, like, create this bubble. But, like, a BSB is there for, like, an extra point of combat res, and then I think all I'm going to do with my BSB in my Bretonnian army is just give him the War Banner for another +1.
Yeah, or one of the other banners, and that's it, right? So
he's just like you know, an extra 2 points of combat res, static combat res for a unit.
You won't like this guy. He's a bit Empire actually, so I'm not sure if I like him 100%. But I'm going to use this guy in my army as a. Oh, come on, please focus.
No,
his name, the STL is he's the Golden Bastard. And he's literally like he can't see it. He's got almost like a Sanguinary Guard faceplate and body armor on. And I want to use him as a Duke from the
Border Princes.
Yes, Border Princes.
Yes.
I want him to be my Border Prince Duke.
He'll fit in perfectly as a Border Prince thing.
Yeah,
I love that.
And that's I really like it because it's like I feel like he could get people behind him, but no one wants to actually be near him. You know, that kind of way. Yeah. And he would like, yeah. So I think he may be my Duke.
Did you see what happened after our last episode?
Maybe. Remind me, it's been a while.
We were talking about the Bombard.
Oh yes. Oh no.
And I was like, I want one, but it's like €1 million. Like I'll never get one. So a guy reached out and sent me one, brand new.
What? No, I didn't see that. Where did you tell people about that?
I didn't. We talked about it in the podcast, and he messaged me. He watched the podcast, and then he came back and was like, blah blah blah. Not only did he send it to me in the original Games Workshop packaging that's dated 1988 on the back. The year I was born was the thing, and it's not even like it's like there must have been like 2 runs of it because the original run is the Bombard with the 3 crew, but the first edition of it when it first came out came with 2 laborers as well. These random weirdo models, which I don't know what they are, but I didn't want to waste them because they got sent to me, so I made my little Bombard base and stuff, and that's the official size of the Bombard. So
I was going to say, yeah, it's much smaller than that.
Yeah. So
that looked cool.
Very cool. Very nice of him to reach
out.
I
like it. And I've got a bunch of wooden bases on their way to me.
Nice.
So I bought some triangles and I bought some wooden bases. So I can do some. Yeah, lance formations.
Oh, the lance bases. Yeah.
And some. I can get my Grail Knights out.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I showed you these before. Maybe I hadn't done them before, but I'm really tired waiting on Foot Knights. So I've done at least a unit that will be temporarily Foot Knights, if not permanently Foot Knights.
Well, they're beautiful looking, so why would you bother not use them as Foot Knights?
Well, they're great. I mean, I want to buy everything plastic that is plastic.
Yes.
Because I kind of want them to keep the game going. But also, when are we getting Foot Knights? Like October at this stage? Just everyone...
So we're still waiting on second wave of Bretonnian boys to be brought out.
I think that's still the first wave. Like there is only one wave, right?
Yeah, but I think there's another like I said, we still don't have the box set separate, so we can't get Knights of the Realm and Penzance and all that. we haven't gotten questing knights. And we haven't got, like, I think the Made to Order will then kick in with things like, we haven't got the Trebuchet.
Nope.
And obviously we need things like the Grail Knight. And I think your man on the Hippogriff will come back, the King will come back as a Hippogriff model to use because you've got that option in the book.
Yep.
So I think he'll probably do that as well. And then I'm hoping they do the Made to Order for the, like, Robin Hood dude.
Yeah. He was the peasant bowman guy, wasn't he?
Yeah, kind of. There's a unit in the book for squires, which are another skirmishing archer unit. And as soon as I was like, oh, they're skirmishers, oh, they're archers. Oh, the Robin Hood dude and his merry men would be a perfect unit to use for that kind of thing. It'd be so cool. So, yeah, hopefully we get our hands on those at some point.
Oh, I like them. Right, talk to me. You went to an event.
I did. I went to the first Old World Warhammer tournament in Ireland. It was class.
So I watched your video, so I know how it went. But let's pretend well. I haven't.
you,
you played 3 games, right?
I did play 3 games, yes.
First guy didn't know what he was doing.
He was just a bit newer. He just made some.
Yeah.
So
first tournament, right? Of course he's going to be.
Yeah. So yeah, he did all right. He just made a silly mistake at the start, which was I think if he had have read the rules for, like,
full stop. That's I'm going to edit that rest of this out. If he just read the rules and we'll move on. That's it. Job done.
Yeah.
He was playing Wood Elves, wasn't he?
No, he's playing Chaos. Warriors of Chaos.
Oh, Chaos. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But he had a unit of trolls out on the flank, Chaos Trolls, which are only leadership 4.
Oh God!
I was like, no support, no banner, no in general leadership type thing. And
I
thought they were really brave, so I fed him my impetuous knights as at least you'll win the first fight and we'll have a bit of crack kind of thing. And then the knights won by 1. And I think it was like static. It was like, I'm in a lance formation and have a banner, and you caused a wound, so I win by 1. Like
-1, so he had to roll 3, and
I was like, okay, so you've got a high leadership because you're like Chaos Trolls. He's like, yeah, leadership 4. I was like,
whoopsie.
Oh no.
What was because I know what you did. I know how the games went. What was the Chaos Army like? What was it like to play against? Did it remind you of old Chaos? Is it new? How's it feel?
So I think he had the most unorthodox of the Chaos armies, but there was like 3 or 4 Chaos armies there. And the other 3 had, like, big block of knights, big block of warriors, marauders, that kind of thing. So the rest felt like Chaos armies. His was a little bit different. He had like Forsaken and some warriors, and he took a demon prince, a Nurgle sorcerer, and some stuff like that. So he was quite cool.
I mean, they were odd choices in any army, like Forsaken.
Yeah, who takes Forsaken? Forsaken were really good actually, because he got charged, and I kind of whiffed a little bit. The Knights of the Realm charged into them, and I think I killed like 2 of them or whatever, and he was like 6 wide. So he had 4 guys left in, and I was like, okay, I can probably weather 4 dudes. I was like, okay, I roll for the number of attacks, D3. They have 3 attacks each, and I was like, suddenly that's a lot of dice being rolled against my knights. Oh no, I don't like that at all.
No, that sounds bad.
Then my Pegasus came in and rear charged him and dealt with that, and so that was pretty good. Pegasus Knights are key. Like, I have no idea what I'm doing to make it 1,500 points for Warhammer World, but I know as a bare minimum I'm taking another unit of 3 Pegasus Knights.
Yep.
That's definitely happening.
I do feel like, I don't know if I said this to you before, but there was a thing in old fantasy where if an army had a thing and it was the only way you could do that thing with that army, you have to take it. So in theory, every Bretonnian army should have Pegasus Knights because they're super fast and can fly, a trebuchet because it's the only thing they've got that shoots at range, and like artillery, I guess, and a unit of archers because they're the only thing that shoots that normal shoot. Everything else, then you can do what you want with. But like the default was always take whatever you were allowed, and it became really specific when we got comp and stuff at events where you could only take X number of Dark Elf units. So they'd be like, okay, well, I'm going to take my 0 to 1 of them next. And it was just the way to do it.
If you're comping them, they must be good. So I'm definitely taking those.
How many can I take? Oh, all of that. I'll take all of that, please. Thank you.
Yeah. I don't think I need a trebuchet. I want to take a trebuchet, but so far from what I've seen, War Machines really, like, everyone talks about War Machines is just things that like pink off a couple of wounds and reduce our rank. Like, that's the kind of purpose of them. Obviously, Stone Throwers have a big pie template, so they might do more. Sure. But I want to take one, but I don't think that'll make it into my 500-point cut. Because like it reduces your rank. That's what War Machines are for. I'm like, I have first charge, so when I hit you, you don't get ranks anyway the first time I charge. So I don't think I need that. Like, which I didn't forget I didn't remember for the entire tournament. The
Of course
first charge, I forgot it every time. Every time I charged, that rule went out my ears. So I never used it.
And what was your if you remember to use them, what virtues and stuff did you give knights?
You didn't pay for anything.
What?
I
took
took
maximum bodies.
Yeah, I took 1,000 points of dudes, and they all had commands except for the 10 peasant block that I needed to take for my thing, and then there was no magic items in the entire army. Nothing.
Oh my god.
And it worked.
Yeah, no, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just that thing of like I had written this. It was 1,000 points perfectly, like, and I just loved it. I had enough to deal with everything, and there wasn't a situation where I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do about that. I'm like, okay, I can do this and this with that. That's what I'm gonna do.
Well, I mean, your army did one thing, right? It's point and charge. That's it. So
yeah, but there's a lot of like knowing when to charge and what to charge is actually more important than you think, especially with things like the Wood Elf army and where I'm going and what's good. Like, if I charge, you're gonna flee. And he's like, yeah, and I'm like, okay, that's okay. Yeah, so that's a bit of a pain in the backside. You gotta be careful with that.
So what was it? What were the chaos like then? So were they hard as nails, or was it kind of
not against knights?
Okay.
Like, I think if they were fighting like a regular infantry thing, they would have, cut them down like nobody's business. But they just couldn't really muster. I would charge in, fight first. I mean, even if I only killed 3, then there's like you're 6 wide, you've got 3 left. That's like 4 attacks or whatever. Well, you've got 2 attacks apiece, I think, at Warriors Cast. But like my Grail Knight charged into his Demon Prince. And he charged the Demon Prince into the Grail Knights, but I countercharged because he's a monster.
Of course.
And then it was just like, I take off 3 wounds and I have a banner and I'm in lance formation, and it was just like, I think I won by like 11 or something.
Oh.
And he was like, I'm unbreakable. I'm like, I think you'll find you're unstable. And he's like, yeah. Use 11 more wounds, buddy. That's what happens with that. And he's like, oh no. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake.
No.
So his Demon Prince popped and.
Well, that's actually hilarious. Brilliant. Poor guy. You were mean.
Yeah, I think I was.
You're going to do a public apology?
Yeah.
Not here. You need to do a full video for it.
Yeah. I just think it's that thing of if you just take like 3 big blocks or whatever, nothing maneuverable, you're just going to get outmaneuvered. And I know it sounds stupid, but it's just what happened. All his blocks were like so spread out. It was like Forsaken were on one flank, his guy and demons were in the middle, and the trolls were on the other side, and it was like,
well, that works if you got a fast army.
Yeah. She doesn't.
No. Well, shame. Who was the next army?
Wood Elves.
Okay.
He was a very experienced player. He knew what was up. He was scary. He was the scariest, like I said in the video. He was the scariest person, like the person I was least looking forward to playing, because I thought he had the arrows for a minus. So I think Wood Elves choose the arrows they want to take. So I expected him to take the -2 AP arrows, and I was just going to drop like flies. Just knights were going to fall off their horses. Guns was going to be a disaster.
Yeah.
But he didn't. He took the true flight arrows, and I still don't know if I'm doing Wood Elves, which ones I think are better. Because obviously, if you fight Warriors of Chaos, Dwarves, or Bretonnians, obviously the -2 is better. But if you fight everything else, you probably just want to hit more. So
yeah, true.
Statistically, who are you going to see more? What are you going to see? I don't know. In a tournament, having to decide on your battle and your sheet obviously is going to be super important. I don't know. But so yeah, he could hit loads, but he just couldn't get through armor. Well, he got lucky actually. He didn't get lucky. He did well like the first 2 turns. He took off a couple of knights from my Knights Errant, and they just ran off the board like turn 2 gone. It's like, okay, bye. That's not exactly what I wanted to happen.
Pretty sure he didn't want that either.
No, I think that's exactly what he wanted. Yeah. Yeah. But
nah, he wanted a good fight.
I think what I did was like the success that I had in the tournament was I was brave. I wasn't like, what, I'm not going to try and figure it out. I'm just going for it. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. So a lot of people are caught off guard by just like, all the knights are charging across the board and turn 2. I'm like, holy crap. And things were smashing in. Like, he had his crazy Glade Riders or whatever. I don't know what the elite Wood Elf Cavalry are called. Glade Riders are the standard ones.
Yeah.
Wild Ride. I don't know. These are the crazy ones. They're like metal models and all that kind of jazz. And yeah, they were in some trees on the side, like his custom tree piece, and I was just like, that looks intimidating. But you know what? I'm gonna charge in with my Grail Knights, and he countercharged, and I was like, I don't care. They're Grail Knights. They'll either lose or they'll win. But I'm
Yeah,
not gonna
they'll
sit
be
here and
fine.
try and. I'm not gonna try and like. This might be the only chance I get to be in the front of your unit. You might be dancing around the
Yeah.
side of me for the rest of the game, and I don't want to risk that. So I'm gonna just go for it. And he countercharged because he can do that, and
Of
that
course.
went. But I did get a spell off, which gave my Grail Knights regen 5+. So it's
How was a magic full stop?
magic was good. I got lucky with a lot of magic. I didn't come across a single level 4. And I think I have to take a level 4 going into the 1500 points because I think I'm really going to feel it if they have it and I don't.
Yeah.
The spell range is longer and they've got +4 to the spell. And then they obviously got +4 to cast. I just think if you're fighting a level 4 and you don't have one, you're gonna feel it in a game. So I would rather either us both have a level 4 or I have a level 4 and you don't. I don't want it to be the other way around. So I think I'm gonna commit to. But the problem is with my Bretonnian list now, which Tim was putting out last night. It's like, all right, I'll make my damsel a prophetess.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, yeah, but you have a baron, and I'm like, yeah,
Not anymore. Yeah.
you can only have a baron or a prophetess in each
What's
1,000 points.
what's the benefit of a baron over a duke or whatever the next one is?
Nothing. I'll have to go up to a duke, so he's something like 65 points on top of him. Now he's gonna get an extra wound and an extra weapon skill and an extra attack. Like he's just a better guy. But
I had thought that it was, this is just me not paying enough attention. I had thought it was like prophetess and top of the food chain was the same, so you couldn't have.
It's the middle one for some reason.
Right.
So I have to take the prophetess, which means I have to go up from my duke to or my baron to a thingy. So that's going to eat a lot more points again.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking I'm going to get a unit of Pegasus Knights, make her a level 4, make him a big boy, give him some magic items to hunt monsters in case I come across a bunch of dragons. Maybe I'll have points left for a unit of archers or something. Maybe.
Is it worth doing full on one prophetess and just hero hammer, just taking as many like small heroes as you can get?
Don't think so. I don't know. I wouldn't. I'd rather the units and stuff. I think I'll stick with the.
But I mean, if you're going to spend whatever percentage on lords and heroes anyway, what I'm saying is, should you maximize the number you've got rather than just have 2 big ones? Should you maximize and have like 4 or 5 plus prophetess? If you can fit it in.
I don't know. Not with wizards. I would rather have a level 4 than 2 level 2s.
Okay.
Just for the +4 to cast in a spell. It's so powerful.
The question is, would you rather a duke or a baron over 2 or 3 paladins or whatever they're called?
Paladins, yes, because paladins only have 2 wounds.
Okay. 2 wounds.
They've only got 2 wounds.
Wow.
So if you take a paladin BSB on a Pegasus, you're like, you only have 2 wounds. Like if a bolt thrower hits you, you're dead. Like,
does it not go up because you've got a beastie? Not by much, but like by something.
Yeah, you go by 1 toughness and 1 wound on a Pegasus. I guess that's true. So you'd be 3 wounds.
3 wounds is still not worth paying for a Royal Pegasus.
Yeah, it's a bit iffy. I mean, that's another thing that people have to remember with the old world. Like Age of Sigmar is psychotic for wounds. Like, you know, when you look at a European cards, you're like, yeah, that's 50 wounds on the table. You're like, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
And you think of all the big monsters, like, yeah, I've got 18 wounds. And I'm like, okay. So when I was pointing around Demon Prince, and I was like, you know, how many wounds does that thing have? And he's like, oh, it's got 4. I was like, oh, what?
Is it really 4? I'm just trying to find
4 or 5. Like all big monsters are only like 4 or 5. Like a dragon has like 6 wounds or something.
I mean, I'm sure it works. It just sounds mental.
It is. It's just because it's harder to get wounds through, and there's not a lot of wounds going out, and it's definitely definitely chip hammer.
Oh yeah, like a duke for 175 points has 4 wounds.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I played 40k a few weeks ago, and Eldar, my Autarch has 4 wounds, and he died instantly.
Yeah.
I deployed him, and he died, like from deep strike, and he was gone the end of that turn. It was just horrendous.
So if I go that expensive with him, you kind of have to go in for penny, in for pound. If I'm going to spend 175 points and put him on a Pegasus for 65 points or whatever, then I've got to add gear onto him to make him more survivable and more Achillean and stuff. So
Yeah, and I mean, you know what? I mean, I can see a value in the paladin. 60 points, 3 attacks, toughness 4, strength 4. Like he's all right.
Yeah.
And I would take 2 of them rather than 1 Baron if I could, because the Baron only has 3 wounds. So I'd rather pay 20 points extra, get an extra wound and an extra body. But
Two paladins is the equivalent of 30 men at arms.
yeah, I know, right?
What
Good
will be more of a
times.
nuisance and more of a pain in a battle? I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I feel like there must be a benefit there.
I don't
But
know.
every list I've written has resulted in 1 or 2 top level characters,
Yeah.
and then stuff around it. What
Seems to
was
be
what
what a
was
lot of
the?
people are doing.
Is that what everyone's doing?
Yeah, I think it's going to be
Is
a
that because
hero.
no one knows what they're doing yet?
People are learning.
Mm.
The two things going around with tournaments seems to be dragons are a big deal. Be careful
As
with
they should
dragons.
be.
And the crazy line infantry thing, people are afraid of that. Like where if you have 30 black orcs, you deploy them in a line of 30 straight
Yeah.
across. It's like you're in the fighting rank, 30 attacks. It's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
So people are just taking that to the extreme. Obviously, no one's going to do that, but um, someone was talking about. I was watching a podcasty thing earlier today, and it was like, if you like fall back or whatever, if you fall back in good order,
Hmm.
and at the end of that, you get to reform. So the guy was like, well, if you did that, if you lost a combat, let's say you're a unit of something crazy, and you lost a combat and you fell back, and let's say there's 12 of you left in the unit, and you're like, okay, what am I going to do? 5, 5, and 2. That's not going to do anything when he charges back in. So why don't I reform to 12 wide?
God.
And then just get ready for the smack in, and then the 12 dudes at least get to fight, or 6 dudes get to fight, or you might do something on for that kind of reason. I could be like, all right, I can kind of see that maybe making a little bit more sense. Guys just getting ready for that last charge or something, or
Just in the background, I can just see your 2 winged characters, and one of them looks so small. He looks like he's back on the shelf actually compared to the other one.
yeah. And I made him taller by
I
2 inches
know all the
more, so
rocks.
he would be way smaller again if I didn't have that. So I'm still really excited to paint him though and give him an L whirl.
What was game 3 again?
I didn't the what else were like say game 2.
Mm.
Um and I think just went well with like charges and going through. One thing that I'm finding is lance formation is awkward as a shape on the battlefield.
Yeah.
People charging into it and engaging with it is just an absolute nightmare.
Because you have to
Skirmishers
reform every
charging
time,
them in
right?
the front is the weird because they actually run down the side. And then I was like, if I have a unit of Pegasus here, I'm going to charge in. Are you actually here? Are you here? It's just, like, it looks aesthetically very cool. But I think the last edition where it was just 3 by 3 ranks, the 9 guys, I think that was a better shape.
Sure.
Um,
I thought
one of the funny
I
things
thought
I
they
would love to do
redeployed to
is
that when they were in combat.
what?
I thought you had to redeploy them into that shape when they were in combat. 3
When the
by 3.
lance is blunted.
Yeah.
So if you receive a charge, you lose your lance and you get blunted, and you go into that 3 wide by 3.
Okay. Right.
But no,
Right.
if you're charging, you're in lance formation. I would also love to take one of the packs of plastic movement trays that Games Workshop sells and hand it to someone in Games Workshop and be like, make a lance movement tray out of this, please. I fucking dare you to try and do that. Like none of the lines line up at all to do, like how would you do this?
Well, if you gave it to someone in Games Workshop, they would start by creating a lance with 9 or 10 bases. And they would glue them down on top of it, and then they would cut it out, and then they would cut the bases off, and there you go, lance.
Absolute nightmare. People like I I've never felt more blessed than for having a laser cutter than the last couple of weeks.
I know.
It's the best thing ever. But like people, there was another Bretonnian player there, man, and he had like cardboard dodgily cut into a kind of lance for him. He was like, "It's the best I can do." I'm like, I know. I don't know what you would do if I didn't have that thing right now.
Yeah. Well, Sarissa Precision. That's where I went.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, they're very good.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
I would rather an MDF laser cutter, but what you gonna do?
Buy one. What are you gonna? I've got a discount code here somewhere.
Yeah, It's on the cards, but not yet. I think I need an FDM before I get a MDF laser machine.
If you have an FDM, you just print the bases you need if you want to. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that went well. Obviously, I started to make contact with them. He had like loads of small units of 5 dryads and 5 archers and all that. So once units of knights hit those,
and how were the wood elves to play against?
They were doing their normal
old wood elves.
Their shenanigans. He did some things which I didn't like. I think if he went, I would really like to know. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no.
He did some things that I would love to try and like. If we reset the game and start again, would he do the same things? Like we were playing the game Breaking Point, so we were just churning through each other's points. If you get to a quarter of your starting unit strength army wide, you lose.
Okay.
So we like fed me 5 dryads and an eagle up the left flank, and I was like, paladin on thing, and like my Pegs knights went in and just ate them.
Yeah.
I was like, are you trying to hold me up? Because like I'm not in a rush, so I killed them, and then I just next turn continued on. Like I don't know what impact that had, except you feeding me like 15 unit strength of your army, just like giving me the whole left flank to move around, and like I don't know what his thought process was there. He was very smart on the other flank. And on that flank, he just fed me those 2 things, and I couldn't figure out why. I was like, "Oh, something crazy is going to happen here." Something like his lord came back around on an eagle, and like snuck down my other flank and around in behind and hit my 10 archer or my 10 block of ped thingies. And I was like, "All right, that's quite clever. He's going to claim the 10 points for that and push my army closer to breaking point or whatever." But unlucky for him, he only killed 4, and my baron was in range for using leadership.
Of course.
So he passed his thing and he didn't break. He just took 2 steps 2 inches back and he got hit again. And then my pegs, I was like, oh, I'm going to go charge your lord on his eagle with my baron on his thingy. Like, I bet this is going to be a good fight. And I was like, roll some dice. I got 3 wounds. He's like, cool, I'm dead. I was like, oh, all right. No. I was expecting you to have some crazy elven shenanigans here that were going to stop me, but it did not. So yeah, he just got I think that just broke him when he lost that combat against the Grail Knights. Remember I told you I got my extra ward save, so my regen save, which the spell is if it's cast on a 7+, if you get a 7+, you get a 6+ ward save or regen save. If you cast it on a 10+, you get a 5+.
Yes. Yeah.
So my knights were 3+, 5+, 5+. So he got like 11 wounds through, and like none of them went through at all. And that just broke him. He was just like, oh, but I knew that. Yeah. I was like, you're not getting any wounds through. That's just not happening. You look at the saves I have. But he was really disappointed when nothing got through. And I was like, how did you think that I was going to get through that? So then his knights got munched, and that kind of broke the back of the game. Then it was just cleaning up this small unit at the back of the board and dealing with a tree man. Who once again, I was like, oh, I'm dealing with a tree man now. And my ground knights fought him. And he was like, whack attack. And I was like, do you have to use your whack attack? And he's like, no, I just have to give up an attack for it. I was like, well, then don't give up an attack for it, just attack. And he's like, why? He's taking an initiative test, and I'm a ground knight. I'm initiative 6, so
yeah,
I don't think that's a good idea. He's like, oh, that's a shit idea. Yeah, don't do that. But a whole tree man comes in, he's like, what? 3 attacks. Like with crap weapon skills, so don't hit well. And then it's like, okay, you hit me. I'm like, okay, you got a wound through 3, and so he's like, you're -2 AP, cool. 5+, 5+, 5+ for wounds. So
they've got 5 attacks total.
This was the wizardy one. I think the wizardy one, which is not as good.
Oh, I can tell.
So that was game 2.
Tree man ancient. Oh, 3 attacks. Yeah. 6 wounds. Interestingly, comes on 2 potential base sizes. 50/50 or 50/75.
Yeah, because you're allowed to use you can use either of the 2 types of model, the old like metal one, or you can use the new plastic one. They're in different base sizes. They allow for both. Which I think is quite a nice
165 points. Well, happens.
Yeah.
Were they at least tricksy and fun, or was it?
I think they might have suffered from this being a 1,000-point tournament.
Sure.
I don't think they scaled down well. Having said that, I didn't think Bretonnians would scale down well, but I think because I didn't take any magic items, I got to have enough on the table to do stuff.
I don't think you gain any benefit from scaling up other than more of the same,
More.
right?
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah.
So you kind of get a hammer immediately, and everyone else
Yeah.
hasn't got that hammer.
But I just felt like he had very little on the table. So maybe Wood Elves are a very expensive army. Like
Probably.
I would have ditched that 3-man so fast and used that 260 points to take a couple of units of 10 more skirmishing archers to move around and be really annoying in my flank and just wreck me.
But I also, you have to remember that that movement is a big deal.
Yeah.
A lot of people probably don't yet.
Yeah. No, this guy knows what he's doing.
Sure.
So,
Yeah. No, I'm not
yeah.
not knocking him, but that doesn't mean he remembered.
True.
Like
It's true.
it's so easy just to get hooked on something when you're trying to write something, and then
Yeah.
you realize, oh, I'm not supposed to take
Yeah.
can't take 800 points of this or
No.
whatever.
Like if I was fighting me, I would remove my Pegasus Knights with everything I have on turn 1 and 2. And then I lose my 360-degree arc death unit to cover my like rear and stuff, and then all of a sudden I am just these big unwieldy long blocks that you can get in around behind and stuff, and then it's so hard for me to like turn and bring them to bear against anything. It would be a real nightmare.
What happened in game 3? You made 2 people cry, so what happened in game 3?
I made another person cry. I played a Tomb Kings player.
Yes.
Who was, and he really knew what he was doing because obviously he was top table last round. He was he played on the Irish ETC 9th age team since Old World went away. So he never stopped playing fantasy.
Wow.
So he was using his Tomb Kings army, and he had this weird, I was like, why is your like characters all in that skirmishing archer block at the back of the board? It's a really interesting place to put them, but obviously you know what you're doing. And yeah, he had like carrions and he had swarms and he had like infantry and he had chariots, and like it was a pretty cool looking 1,000 points of thingies. But he talked about, I'm going to siphon all my power out of my swarms and make my spells better and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, I don't really know how that works, but I feel like you've planned a lot of your army around that whole thing. So turn 1, I'm just going to sacrifice my Pegasus Knights and throw them into your swarms. So I literally charged the middle of his army, which I don't think he was expecting in his wildest dreams for Pegasus to come across the board and smash into and his carrions were behind them. But I was like, it wasn't like a total throwaway, because I was like, all your blocks you're in like a castle, and I hit the middle, so like your chariots and stuff are pointing outward. They can't see me here. Now your skirmishing archer cavalry units can see me, but flank me all you want. I'll just kick the ever-living crap out of you. So I thought I'd just get bogged down. So I hit the swarms, killed them, overran to the carrions and killed them. Next round, obviously. And then he got real flustered then. He was just like, you've just cut my army in half and took away those things that I hate, which are the fast-moving, annoying side, like carrions to fly around or swarms to get in the way. And he was like, I now just have a couple of like kind of static blocky things, and you have knights which do much better cutting through those static blocky things. And I was like, yeah. I got lucky on a turn 3 charge with like my Baron made like a full like 19-inch charge or whatever into that crazy block with all the characters. My Pegasus followed him in, and then I just ate all his characters and his unit in like one turn, which means he was then just started to crumble, and they lose their regen save when their Necrotech dies, and then we have to mop up from then. So like by turn 3, that game was over. That was the quickest game.
And what were Tomb Kings like when you got to see them fight?
Once again, I don't think they scaled down well. I think they need a lot more, because like no sphinxes and no, proper blocks, no tomb guard, no, like when I played Tim with his 2,000 points of Tomb Kings in that first battle report, that was much scarier.
Yeah.
So, once again, I just think he had pumped so many points into loads of magic items. I mean, his army was smaller, which means when he's looking across the table at 22 knights, he's just like, shit. How do I deal with 22 knights? The answer is you don't. So
it's not exactly like he min-maxed either. It was just took knights.
Yeah, I just took blocks. I don't think I was cheesy. I took a unit of Knights Errant, for God's sake.
It's true.
Knights of the Realm, Grail Knights,
and learned how Impetuous worked afterwards.
Yes. No. I didn't get to use them wrong once at all. I just didn't know. I was like, what is Impetuous? I just thought it was a leadership check. So 1, 2, 3, they run off and do their own thing like crazy. And because I didn't try to restrain them once. With the first game with the trolls, I was like, I'm not going to try and restrain. I'm just going to go into the trolls and stuff. Yeah. Thinking it was just a leadership check, but it is not.
And so just to check, so the only thing you've taken from the Arcane Tome or whatever it's called is the type of army you're playing.
No, I played the standard one.
Oh my god.
So I pulled it back, and that's why I took the 10 men at arms.
Yes.
So I was legal then, because it turns out that my other list was illegal again, because it requires both a unit of knights errant and a paladin.
Right. Okay.
So it was all wrong. So I couldn't do that army either. So I went back and was like, okay, how do I make the actual list work? And because I dropped a unit of knights of the realm to knights errant, I had enough points to put in 10. So my list was 1,000 points on the nose, 100% perfect.
I was trying to figure out what was different about your army that other armies don't have yet, except the Tomb Kings. And the only thing is the Arcane Tome. But if you haven't even used that and you didn't use any magic items, then
no, I didn't use
maybe
anything.
it's just scale.
The rules.
Mental.
Yeah, the second game when the knights errant ran off the board.
Did you not? You're not supposed to be like rules for this event.
Yeah, I was.
And you won
Lots of rules were asked. It was actually, and I was quite good at it, to be honest.
But then you won the event.
Oh yeah, of course. Just because I was the one doing the scoring.
Yeah, that's kind of
0 points for you. We use that weird program thing. You do it all on your phone, the app thing. I don't know how it works. The
best coast pairings.
That's the one.
I hate it. It's awful.
Yeah, it's awful. I made someone else do it.
It's the only one, but it's awful.
Yeah, it was atrocious. And it was like the armies in that were named all wrong because they were using 9th age names for Bretonnians and stuff like that to make it work. So it was kind of awful.
So what has to happen then for tournaments to exist? Because obviously we have what we have, right? And it is what it is. But it's real old school, right? It's like you win exclusively based on kill points or tournament like
no, certain missions do different things. Like Breaking Point was a problematic one for tournaments because the way we played it was just 1,000 points or 0. That's all you got. You got 1,000 points and someone got 0 because it was unless the rules specifically state unless you both break on the same turn, then you go to victory
or major loss. Yeah.
So
jokes.
But I think that definitely can't exist in a like proper formatted tournament because that's too swingy. So even someone commented on when I did the video and talked about that, someone commented on like, yeah, Term's already done it where they've introduced like you use victory points, but then you get a big bonus if you break them. You get an extra like 300 or 500 victory points or whatever. So like you're definitely going to win, but the other person can definitely claw units back and make a difference and win. So so for like secondary stuff, which is really good. But no, other than that, I think the victory conditions is a very good way of doing it because it is just points of units, 50 points for every banner you take off an enemy, 100 points for the general. That's pretty much it. It's a really easy system to work. You don't have to work. I love playing a game where I don't have to work out who won until the end. I hate when you're like in the middle of a 40k game. You're like, I'd set 822,600 victory points to me currently, and he's on 29,481. But if he catches that, he's going to get another 75 there. And if he flips that card over, then he's going to get another 30. I'm like, can I just play the game, and then at the end we'll calculate who won? Is that okay? No. Okay.
I get why that's not appealing to the general public because people like. I mean, we've grown up with it. We've grown up with Counter-Strike and Quake and, hold the flag or whatever. So like people have grown up used to the idea of calculating points as you go. But I agree. It's really frustrating.
It's annoying. I just don't like it. The less I have to track as I'm playing, the better. I just want to play the game and then have a bit of crack at the end. Another thing I'm toying around with, and like I was saying, that unit of Knights Errant is the only unit that I lost in the entire tournament.
Yeah.
So that was kind of crazy. Yeah, I don't know whether I can see this happening. It happened once in a game with Tim, but it was just a friendly game. Like we didn't record it. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh yeah, that's a big problem. I need to figure out how to make that not a thing. So I kind of feel like my damsel should not be in a unit of knights. She should be on foot in a unit of infantry at the back or whatever.
Sure.
Because I miscast and I put a template down in the middle of my Grail Knight block.
Oh, no. And
I was like,
oh
resistance? No. What?
Have they not got magic resistance?
No. They have magic attacks. They don't have magic resistance.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay. Ooh, nice.
So I lost. I luckily only lost 2 knights in that miscast, but I was like, imagine this was like a tournament or something, and I was like, oh, the cost was. Oh shit! I just lost.
Well, I guess put her on a Royal Pegasus, right? She's not joining anyone.
Yeah. Just like loads of spells are really good. Like that regen spell is one I think I will always take because it's a Bretonnian spells. You just choose it after you've rolled. But it's her and the unit she's in, kind of, so she has to be in the night unit for that to be a thing. Like, it's just, it's a whole process.
What do you think tournaments are going to look like? Do you think we're going to see a lot of them that are going to be the same? Do you think we're going to see some of them that introduce different victory conditions on top of just points?
I don't know. Like, I definitely think there's going to be lots of tournaments. I'm already excited to go to the one in Warhammer World, and there's already another one planned for the Underworld Gaming store in March, I think it is.
You're going to cheat that one as well?
I don't know. Maybe if assert my dominance, take something. But I mean, TOs will always do crazy things to try and make the game kind of more balanced, or not even just more balanced, but like the victory conditions aren't so gigantically swingy, so everyone has more chances of winning and stuff. So they may introduce a bunch of more secondaries or whatever. I don't know. Potentially, like for Breaking Point, was it Breaking Point or one of them? You calculated like so the victory points at the end weren't just if the unit was destroyed. You got X amount of points if it was 50% destroyed, or X amount if it was 25%.
Okay.
Which I think is better for everyone, because like you could you could have a unit of 50 somethings and then you take them down to 1 at the end of the game. It's like, oh, you didn't get that one, cool, you didn't get any points for that. It's like, well, no, you should get 1,000,000 points for that minus the one dude kind of thing. So, so I quite like the unit strength one, because that's like literally how much did you kill of the dude's army. I think that's a very easy one to factor, because it's like, oh, did you kill all the chaff? Cool, the chaff doesn't do much. Kill a dragon, cool, that's 6, and that's, I don't know. It's a whole thing. Yeah, I just the real thing I'm questioning is legacy armies. Like every independent tournament so far has been like, of course we're allowing in legacy armies, and I hope they do continue to allow legacy armies. Obviously, Games Workshop is not allowing legacy armies.
That's because they're not selling them.
Yeah, we're not selling anything right now. So.
Yeah, I know, right? Bad times.
So it'll be interesting to see how that kind of plays out. There wasn't a lot of legacy armies at the event. Was there any legacy armies?
I mean, who's got them?
Me.
Yeah, who else? That's the problem, right?
Yeah. Like, I'm so engrossed into the old world that I pulled out a bunch of armies out of my cabinets, my Age of Sigmar cabinets, and freed up 9 shelves.
Oh, wow.
So I've got 1 shelf for each of the new armies, the old world armies. So I've put this stuff. So there's an Orc and Goblin army, there's a Chaos army, there's an High Elf army, Dwarves, Beastmen, Bretonnians, Tomb Kings, Empire. I literally have them all ready. I can work through them now.
Well, to be fair, everything Bretonnian's back in stock except
the 2 characters I need. Yeah.
The new Paladin and the new Battle Standard Bearer.
Yep.
Which good, and all the books are now in stock. All that kind of stuff's in stock, but like all the other kits are there, which is good.
Yeah, they have brought them back, which is very good. Like I said, I got the Damsel, and then I ordered a unit of.
And everything Tomb King is there except the starter set and the books.
Are the swarms back?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Might order some swarms.
I like the new swarms.
So do I, and now I know that they have an actual purpose as opposed to just being like little chat, like you do the whole magic siphoning thing. I think that might be really cool.
Yeah. So, no, I think they're a nice take on the idea of a swarm.
Yeah, I think they're beautiful. Like I said, it was a surprise as to the unit they chose to do.
I know,
but they did a great job with what they did choose.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? So still no sign of the dwarves or the orcs and goblins either.
No sign of anything.
Hopefully this first old world tournament on the day they might like have some stuff or talk about some stuff or do something.
I mean, what are they even doing? Like, full stop, right? Like, this week is mental. Like, this week is Space Marines from Indominus, Space Marine Scouts that we got in January, Striking Scorpions we got in January. Last week
you got 2 support boxes from Epic as well.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah. Last week was Black Library So we got one orc and about 12 books. It's fine. But like, where's the stuff?
Yeah, I wonder if they are like, like I've said to you before. Like I know the dates. The last month of their like financial-ish year is. I always have to start from December, January, February, March, April, May. The end of May is the end of the year, and if they're like, if they've made enough money this year, they will hold off releases until next year, or let's decide to do stuff like that. So they might just try and be catching up on making stock and getting stuff back in stock instead of releasing new things. I don't know. Look, we have the new Dark Angels a few weeks ago, and the rest of them should be out soon. Which is like the first 40k thing we've seen. It's felt like in like 6 months. I'm like, where's the rest of their 40k stuff? So yeah, it has felt like they've released nothing but Old World, but then haven't released any Old World. That's what it's felt like since Christmas.
Yeah, it's weird to think that we're halfway through February.
Yeah.
We've had very little.
All right, guys, thank you so much for listening to another episode of the podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, let us know by chatting in the comments below, whatever you're listening to, and whatever you listen to us on. What are we posting it on these days? Still everything, or
everything? Yeah, the internet primarily.
It's on the internet most of the time.
Yeah,
so.
I can get a carrier pigeon if you really need. Yeah, but they have a problem with your accent.
No, yeah. I don't.
Yeah, they can do mine, but your carrier pigeon just can't do it.
Yeah. So let us know what you like, and let us know if there's any specific topics you would like us to cover in future episodes. We are always more than happy to listen and take on board. We shall talk to you next week.
We're basically just an Old World podcast right now.
What's your point? Old World's selling. It's like hotcakes right now.
No, not complaining, just saying. It is what it is.